Thank you very much. Welcome to my talk. You can enjoy now because next thing is just lunch, so you can just sit back and enjoy. My name is Petrik. I'm from Nutra Consulting, living in Czech Republic currently, and our company does everything around open source and mostly QGIS development and services, and also Mergin Maps, which will be around. If you never heard about Mergin Maps, I have a very quick thing how you can download a venue map if you like. There is a paper to scan and download the project. Or if I'm very boring, you can play with it during my talk. I will not be offended. So Mergin Maps, it's basically a tool that is QGIS running on your phone. And you can do many things with it. You can collect data outside, you can share with other people, you can publish the data to all other infrastructure you have. And of course, this is a very established open source project, so you can trust that it will be here next year in Phos4G. Not here, but somewhere. So, Mergin Map ecosystem. So it consists of mobile app that runs on any mobile or tablet you have, or desktop. Then that's a web application where you can share the data and manage your workspace and your colleagues who can write to project, who can read project and so on. And of course, it's all integrated in QGIS. It's really empowered by QGIS. So there is a QGIS plugin where with one button you can download your data from field survey to your QGIS and do your stuff in there. This is a link on App Store and Google Play, also on a paper that is with you. So you can download it and try it out yourself. And the main functionality, as I already told you, is that you have really QGIS running on your phone. So as you see here, it's my mobile phone and my desktop computer. And this is a workshop from Tuesday this week of this area. And you see the rendering engine is the same. So basically you can load any data that you can load in QGIS in your phone. So this is a very quick overview interface. There was a talk other day about the features. If you like, you can get it on online channels of Phos4G and watch it. But you can do management of the projects. You can customize yourself, your forms in QGIS with many widgets. You can do photo capture. You can work with map. You can connect it to the external GNSS device and do precise measurements if that's your requirement. So the next part is sharing. So you can share your projects, and Mergin Maps is based on a philosophy of Git. It's not a Git, but we have a library called geodiff, which is something like Linux diff library, but for geodata. So it's a philosophy of Git for versioning of data. So you have many versions, you can play with the versions, and in the web application you can download the versions, share your project with other colleagues, other members of the workspace, and do all you need. For deployment of server, it's open source, so you can use community edition of the open source server and deploy it on your Kubernetes instance or anything. It's based on Docker, so if you have Docker or Docker Compose or Kubernetes on your cloud, it should be easy to deploy it yourself. There is also Enterprise Edition for some bigger enterprises features, and it's also our hosted service, which is free for education purposes completely, and also for small NGOs. So we try to support NGOs, so if you have a smaller NGO, you can use hosted service completely for free. So here are some pictures of our users. So as you see, the application should be used without any trainings for non-GIS people. You need a power user for setting up the project, but outside it should be very easy. So you see a citizen project in Netherlands where they got some LiDAR data, and then people go work around their cities or villages and try to use Mergin Maps to verify the LiDAR data observations. Or you can use this external GNSS. That's the recent case that I will talk about. There's some Vietnam in the national park and some farmer in South Africa. The third one is publishing. So first of all, of course, you can download data in QGIS very easily with one button, and with the data you can connect it to anything you use. Most importantly, there is a nice script or daemon you can deploy, and you can synchronize Mergin Maps projects with your PostGIS instance or schema, so it will be bidirectional one-to-one synchronization. And from there you can connect it to anything else. Also it has a Python API, C++ client and REST API. So it's pretty much possible to connect it to anything else you want to use for your company. So we will work this summer and autumn on publishing. We try to aim for very simple web map that you can publish your survey data for your client, so he can see what you did last day, let's say. So that this will be part of the deployments for very easy publishing of the map, simple map. So now the last part of my presentation should be really about the trust or the ecosystem of Mergin Maps we try to build. So first of all, we work open source. So 99% of or 95% of the code is really open source on GitHub. You can go to our Mergin Maps GitHub workspace and see the community edition of the server, whole application, all the plugin, all the scripts that I mentioned here. Everything is an open source license, and just you can download it and work with it. It's either GPL license or MIT license, most of the code. Also the GeoDiff library is there, so if you want to use it for completely different project, feel free to use it. So of course, I don't need to explain it here, but fully open source means that you don't have vendor lock-in and you have all the benefits of open source. We are 3 years in full production, I mean full production on cloud with real use cases. I will show you later. From the last FOSS4G, we had 7 releases of apps, 2 plugin releases and 12 server releases, including 1 major release of community edition of the server with all latest development from the last year. And we fully moved the community edition development on GitHub. Before it was on GitLab and only copied once per time, and now it's fully on GitHub, the development of the server too. So this is our team from the last year, and you can recognize some faces. And on displays, near displays, we'll also have a probably user conference, QGIS user conference next year. So maybe if you want to travel to Slovakia next year, you will be welcome to QGIS user conference. We are something like 10 people fully for Mergin Maps, let's say, and the rest of the company is around QGIS development. For example, Point Clouds is our recent work on QGIS, but the team fully for Mergin Maps is around 10 people at the moment, and we are growing very rapidly. For example, now we have few positions for Mergin Maps open for developers and support. So a bunch of case studies from the recent FOSS4G. You can find all of them on the website. So this one is from Vietnam, where they used Mergin Maps, Fauna and Flora International, to track gibbons and where they live and how we can help them. So there is a team of let's say 10, 12 people going around the jungle and digitizing the position of homes of these animals. And then when they got back in the office, fully offline, and when they get back to the office in a few days, they can synchronize data back to their infrastructure and doing the analysis. This one is from Czech Republic. It's for EU requirements, so the grant was for finding out the percentage of waste, different type of waste in different type of recyclable systems. So they used Mergin Maps to track the track the position of the passportization of the bins and then analyzes and taking some attributes of it. Later they did some algorithms based on, like they were developing a methodology for European Union to select various like bins that will be analyzed, so it's statistically correct. So it's like methodology how to do some statistics for European Union of the waste composition. And they were prototyping the methodology with Mergin Maps as a quick prototyping tool and QGIS. So on top image you see that there is some algorithm for clusters and clusterization of the regions based on the type of settlements or is the industrial zone or house zone or something like that. So the next one is from Netherlands, and it is mapping of the forest and like seeding of the new forest. In that region there are many private owners who owns just small part of the land, and they wanted to give a tool for them so they can communicate with some easy tool to like where to plant the tree and then make some documentation. Also they were using Juniper GNSS systems to precisely locate the trees and manage that. So it's Etienne. And all of these you can read in more details on the website. It's a few pages with description and details, what was done, how it was done. So you see again QGIS project with trees and other stuff in a forest that was mapped. Very new case study that came out just for this Phosphor-G as a present for you. It's a one for ING in Senegal, and they were doing LiDAR scanning and of the big area, but they need the ground points to these ground points for LiDAR. Yeah, they I think recorded 1,000 points with Mergin Maps and with some attributes for this purpose. So feel free to read this case study too. I want to very quickly talk about other stuff we do. First of all, being open source project doesn't mean that you are alone there. And we have dedicated support team, and also our partners are doing support locally, and we help you doing onboarding to set up your project and find some, like try to help you to make the maximum of the open source QGIS and Mergin Maps and other tools. And we offer some support, free support for subscribers. And we have also a commercial SLA plans, which are very important. So if you have a bigger company, you are dependent on QGIS or Mergin Maps or other tools, we support you. So you support the project, and you are sure that we will respond to you in a few hours and solve your problems. Also, we are running a Slack community channel where we have, I think, 870 people already. So it's like double up from the last Phosphor-G, where people use this Slack for solving their problems, chatting about some use cases or how to do this and how to do that. And all the developers of Mergin Maps are very active there, so we try to look every other day or every day on the Slack and try to help everyone on this community Slack channel. We started actually last Phosphor-G. It was the first talks, so that was a great event for us as a project, open source project, that we talked with many people around open source consultancy companies that are doing a great job with open source around the world. And we start to build up, we call it partners network. So you can find So anyone who has a consultancy company and doing open source, giving it to clients, we have them in this partnership network, and we actively market them on our social media and website and try to get the business to their companies so everyone can locate nice local partner next to their location to help them with setting up the project, doing training, support, and build up a community around the place. So here are some partners we have at the moment. So definitely recognize some companies and names from this FOSS4G. Yeah, another slide. Yes. And okay, that's 2 slides at the moment. Also, we partner with hardware providers too. So, for example, Juniper networks. Now, some smaller enhancements, but I think kind of good for users. So we deployed a status page where we have like some live monitor of all events. If something is down or it's not working, you can check the status page. If it is not a planned maintenance or some incident, and if there is nothing on status page, you can check on the community Slack channel or write us or write to our support. For uptime, we kind of have very good results. So usually it's so up, but this is the best place to check. Also, this is some open source project. That is the status page is some open source project. So it all runs on GitHub. So you can also subscribe to GitHub notification. So every incident or maintenance is just the GitHub issue that is opened automatically by some monitoring system. We have a documentation. Actually, we focus a lot on building a good documentation. We have a technical writer. It's just focused on improving this documentation, not the full time, but if you count the number of hours we spend on it, it's quite a lot. Also, all the projects from documentation are served as a public project on our cloud. So you can download all the projects and start from that project as a template. Anyone can contribute. The whole documentation is based on ViewPress, again, open source project and CC BY. So it's feel free to create a pull request. As I said, there are many open source QGIS projects. It's very interesting that some of the documentation, for example, for setting up map teams, is very popular with QGIS users. So we are thinking of we should fix something in QGIS too. So we don't need that difficult documentation. So we are working on that side also in Lutra. So if you find something too difficult to explain or document, we try to fix the upstream project, QGIS project to improve in the future. So for the new features, you can watch, as I said, the presentation from Wednesday or Thursday. It was yesterday. But just very briefly, we have a backend tracking, which means that when you are outside and digitizing, you can have a track where you've been automatically. If you started this in beta, but it will be out in a week or a few weeks. We would want to work on surveyor permissions. That means that you can allow someone to just do changes in a field from mobile app, but not from QGIS. And then we have this publishing, which already mentioned. Also, a big focus for the next half a year for us is to just clean up the UI and UX of whole platform to be even easier for users. We set up again for this FOSS4G a few days ago. It was a launch of the wish list. So we will gather all the features from clients in a wish list, and you can go there and vote for things you like, and we will prioritize the features that are a lot of upvotes from a community. So we really want to use it as a as a guideline, like what you want. So, Mergin Maps community, I already mentioned Slack channel, so you can go there. We have also newsletter every month, so you can subscribe to that one. And generally, we are very approachable by emails too, so feel free to send us an email. If you have any questions, and I will not be able to answer it now, we have a stand here, so just come to us, and someone will be there so you can talk to and discuss. Afternoon. For some other information streams, we have a Twitter, we have YouTube channel where we post some short clips, like for example how to connect PostGIS to Mergin Maps, and most importantly we have this Slack channel. Also we have a blog. So thank you very much for your attention, and I think feel free to ask questions if you have any.